Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott Selections here on Sunday, May 19th, here with StatSalt.com. Just a quick recap of what happened yesterday. The main leans that we had were on the Warriors and Trailblazers game, and we ended up having the Warriors on the money line, as well as the under for the full game. Cashed both, definitely a solid day there, as the Warriors put the clamps down on the third quarter with the Trailblazers as they absolutely dominated, outscored them by double digits, ended up winning the game by 11. But they held the Trailblazers to a whopping 13 points in the third quarter, followed by 20 in the fourth. So Golden State now has a 3-0 lead in the series, and they should be blowing them out. Same thing as yesterday, though. We will be giving our main plays on the Winners and Whiners YouTube page. But since people are going to bring it up, I'll bring it up now. We did go winless yesterday with an 0-3 record, unfortunately, as the three teams we bet on scored a total of 2 runs. Definitely not what you like to see, but we will be looking to bounce back there. But as we did yesterday, we will be providing you with a full lean on all of the matchups that we did not provide feedback on the Winners and Whiners page. So we will start out with the main playoff matchup that we did not cover, and it will be between the St. Louis Blues and the San Jose Sharks, which should have puck drop at roughly 3 p.m. Eastern Time. San Jose, it's actually a split line here. San Jose opened up at minus 130, down to minus 125 on Pinnacle, but it is up to minus 140 on Bovada. So shopping around, you could find a solid line, and the total is at 5.5. St. Louis did win the last game 2-1 because Bennington stood on his head and was fantastic, even though San Jose outshot St. Louis by 10 shots, and it didn't end up mattering as San Jose was down 2-0, ended up coming back to make it 2-1, but was unable to tie the game up in that one. In terms of this game, no real leans here, but I would lean to the Sharks and the over. I'm personally not going to be betting on this game because I think this series is a complete toss-up, and this series has the makings of a 7-game thriller. But for me, I will go with the home team personally, and I will be leaning to the San Jose Sharks at minus 125 on the money line at Pinnacle, as well as the over 5.5, as Martin Jones and Bennington have still struggled for the majority of the series, with the exception of Game 4. And San Jose has played a lot better offensively at home this season, so I would personally lean to the over 5.5 in that one as well. Moving on to the baseball card and the games that we did not cover. The early game, you have the Rays versus the Yankees with Morton versus Chad Green. There is no line available, and this actually would have been one of the plays that we had for the Deep 3, but we are going to side with the Rays here. Even though I am a Yankee fan, there's no reason to back Chad Green in the spot. He was sent down to the minors for a reason. He's got a 13-plus ERA, and now it's his first start ever as the Yankees will be using an opener. Morton has been great so far with the Rays, similarly to the way he was great with the Astros, and he has done really well against the Yankees in recent years. So we will be leaning to the Rays and the under in that game. Moving on, you have the Rockies and the Phillies. Leans the Phillies there at roughly minus 130. Freeland has been a solid pitcher, but he has not had a great year, and Eichhoff was pretty solid so far this season. So for me, I would personally lean to the Phillies at home, as Harper will look to go deep once again this season. Yep, thanks a lot in terms of being a bookie. I don't really know about that, but I like to try to provide people with enough feedback that they will be able to try to make some money. Unfortunately, yesterday I became a bookie's best friend as I helped the bookie collect from maybe each and every one of you. My bad, but we will look to bounce back here on this Sunday. Moving on, you have the Astros versus the Red Sox with Sale versus Miley. I still lean to the Astros here. I know Sale has been very solid, and he had 17 strikeouts in his last start against the Rockies. But they still lost that game, and the Red Sox bullpen is still a massive issue. Astros are still rolling, going for the sweep. Miley, as long as he only gives up about 3 runs in 5 innings, you should be able to win this game, as the Astros have done very well offensively in recent weeks. So I will lean to the Astros there. Moving on with Oakland and Detroit, I lean to Oakland, but a minus 180, huge price on Fires. I lean to the over 10. Soto's 0-2 with a 10-plus ERA. Fires is a 5-plus ERA. I know he did throw a no-hitter a couple of starts ago, but at the same point, I definitely think he will struggle here, and I like the over 10. Moving on, you have Cleveland and Baltimore. A very brief analysis because there's no lineup. I lean to the Indians. Baltimore's terrible, and I think the Indians should win this game by a couple of runs. Moving on, you have the Dodgers with Ryu versus the Reds with Rourke, and the Dodgers are roughly minus 180 on the money line. I lean to the Dodgers, and I lean to the under 9.5, actually. But Dodgers screwed us yesterday, but they did help win in the Winners and Whiners video from day one. So for me, I'm not going to touch it, but I would lean to the Dodgers in that one. Moving on, you have the Mets and the Marlins. Mets screwed us yesterday, but the Mets are still a minus 200 favorite with Syndergaard on the mound, and Miami has Alcantara on the mound here. I actually will lean to the Marlins here, though. They will be going for the sweep. Mets have not looked good this series. Syndergaard has been okay this season, a little bit inconsistent. Alcantara hasn't been great, but as long as the Marlins are able to generate a couple of runs, I expect the Mets offense to continue struggling. So I will personally lean to the Marlins in that one because I don't think the Mets should be a minus 200 favorite. Quick question, what is my favorite sports book in Vegas here? I am not really that familiar with the sports books in Vegas. I definitely have heard great things about the Westgate, and I will be going there next week when I'm in Vegas. But so far, I would have to probably lean to the MGM. I was a little bit biased towards William Hill because they did have tennis lines, and I'm a big tennis bettor, as all of you know. But MGM I was a fan of because of the massive amounts of TVs they have there, and I definitely think that provides a very great atmosphere. FanDuel's very good. I've heard FanDuel has a great book there in Jersey as well, and they have some great lines. I've heard they've also provided you some great unique money line odds there in NFL season as well as some other sports. So I've heard good things in Jersey, but we'll actually get into the Jersey thing with the sponsor that I'll mention after I finish covering all the lines on the board. Next, you have the Brewers and the Braves. I lead to the Brewers here. Woodruff is 6-1. Foltynewicz is 0-3. And I know the Braves are going for the sweep, but the Brewers are very talented, and I lean to the Brewers here at minus 123 on Pinnacle. Moving on, White Sox and Blue Jays, that's one of the deep three plays. Then you have the Texas Rangers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Lean to the Cardinals here with Flaherty at roughly minus 152 on 5 dimes, and lean to the over 11.5. I expect a lot of runs in that one. Moving on, you have the Angels and the Royals. I have the Angels minus 156 or so. I think Skaggs will pitch better than Duffy, and I think the Angels have done a lot better since Ohtani's come back from the IL. Moving on, you have another deep three play between the Pirates and the Padres. We'll be skipping that one. Moving on, you have the Twins and the Mariners with Gibson versus Kikuchi. I lean to the Twins in that one with Gibson at roughly minus 107. Kikuchi's been solid, but overall, Minnesota's a better team, and their offense has been great recently, so I will lean to the Twins in that one as well as the over. Moving on, you have the Giants with Pomeranz versus the Diamondbacks with Robbie Ray, and I lean to the Diamondbacks in that one, roughly minus 161. Giants played well yesterday, but they're not a great team, and Pomeranz has had issues dealing with home runs in recent years, and I think Diamondbacks should be able to take him deep a couple times, so I will lean to the Diamondbacks in that one. And moving on, you have Hendricks versus Hellickson with the Cubs and the Nationals. I lean to Hendricks in that one. Been very solid over the last month. Cubs coming in off a loss, but I definitely do not like Hellickson in the spot, and I will lean to the Cubs. And in terms of the main play here, we will be talking about the NBA game, which is one of the deep three plays, which I will recommend checking out with the Winners and Whiners page. But as I said before, in terms of tennis, people have been wondering what the tennis pick will be. I don't have a formal tennis pick today, but I will lean to Nadal on the spread as well as the minus 1.5 sets. After Djokovic had a very tough 3-set match with Diego Schwartzman, I think Nadal will be able to coast, and I think Nadal should be able to win that relatively easily. So I will lean to Nadal minus 1.5 sets against Djokovic in that tennis match. But before we conclude the video, we will have a brief recap of what our sponsor is and some of the deals that it is promoting. PointsBet is an online sportsbook based in New Jersey. So if you are in New Jersey and do not have an account there, I recommend getting it because they have a lot of great deals. For example, you have up to 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000. So if you ended up betting on the Warriors money line last night, roughly plus 110, 115, not only do you get to win, but if you hypothetically would have lost that bet, you would have simply got your money back, which is a great deal for new users. Moving on, you also have the NBA playoff deal, which is that if you place a money line bet on a team and they are up after 3 quarters, you win. So you don't have to worry about your team potentially choking a 4th quarter lead away to the Warriors. Something to keep in mind. That's also another deal in the NBA and the NHL playoffs. If the team you bet on is up by 2 goals, then you win. So you don't have to worry about any potential choke jobs late in the 3rd period. If your team is up by 2 goals at any point, you win that game. But in terms of the tennis, I said before, I will be leaning to Nadal minus 1.5. No game spread, just the set spread. I think Nadal will be able to win that in straight sets. But other than that, that is going to do it for this installment of Scott Selections here on Sunday, May 19th. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets. Bye, everyone.